It's Super Tuesday. Voters in more than 20 states across the country will head to the polls in the biggest one-day White House nominating contest in history. National polls show Senator John McCain leading the Republican race, but Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney's ahead in delegate-rich California. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama locked in a dead heat with states awarding delegates proportionally. Instead of winner-take-all, both campaigns are telling supporters not to expect a clear winner after today's vote. For more, we go to Washington, D.C. On the line with Stephen Wayne, a professor of government at Georgetown University, has written over 10 books, including The Road to the White House 2008. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Professor Wayne. Explain how these contests today, for the Democrats in particular, could mean no person in a clear lead. What does it mean to split the delegates rather than winner take all?
Well, what it means is that the Democrats allocate delegates proportional to the vote that the candidates receive in 75% of the delegates in any particular state are allocated in districts no larger than a congressional district. So that means if you have a district, for example, that's primarily African-American, Obama will win that. And if you have another district, which is a blue-collar district where Mrs. Clinton gets the greatest support, she'd win that. And both of them would probably not win it overwhelmingly, so they would split the delegates. It's going to be very, very close.
And how is it for the Republicans?
Well, the Republicans are different. A number of the large Republican states, New York, New Jersey, California, Missouri, have a winner-take-all vote. And that is, in New York and New Jersey, it's whoever gets the most votes within the state gets all the delegates, while in California, it's winner-take-all by congressional district, most of the delegates. So that gives McCain an advantage since he has presumably the momentum going for him. The other interesting thing about many of the contests today is that these are what we call closed primaries. Only registered members of the party can participate, and that hurts both McCain and Obama, who have gotten a substantial portion of their vote from independents.
What happens to Edwards delegates?
Well, that depends on what Edwards says. Edwards has dropped out. Now, Edwards could, in the end, endorse someone, and I think he's probably waiting for someone to get into the lead and then endorse them and ask his delegates to vote for that person. If he says nothing, the delegates can come in and vote their own conscience. And even if Edwards says, I support Barack Obama or I support Hillary Clinton, that doesn't mean he can force his delegates to vote for Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton. These are people who he's picked, so presumably they're loyal to him and to his ideas, but he can't command them to vote for any one person.
Professor Wayne, what's a superdelegate?
A superdelegate, only the Democrats have superdelegates. And superdelegates are people who are delegates by virtue of their position in elective or party office. There are 3 members of the National Committee in each state. They're automatically delegates. All the members of Congress, the Democrats, are delegates. Ex-presidential candidates of the Democrats are delegates. Governors are delegates. Mayors of large cities can be delegates. And the thing about these delegates, they're not elected. They're simply appointed, and they're unpledged. So formally, they can vote for whomever they want. There has been a campaign, a subterranean campaign, between Obama and Mrs. Clinton to win the hearts and souls of these delegates. And in fact, that campaign began 2 years ago when both candidates, Mrs. Clinton and Obama, set up what were called leadership political action committees, which raised money and then distributed a substantial portion of this money to Democrats who are running for office.
We're talking to Professor Stephen Wayne. He teaches government at Georgetown University. Professor Wayne, what is the significance of so many states? I mean, this being the largest single day in the history of this country for voting in primaries? Well,
the significance of this is twofold. One, there has been a debate over the years among political scientists and some party officials about whether it would be fairer to have a national primary. And this is really the first test of what a national primary might look like. Incidentally, the states have been opposing this, and the party leadership opposes this, so it's something that just sort of happened by chance. The second significance of this is that it resembles how you campaign for the general election, in that you can't campaign in 24 states and go to coffee houses and sit in living rooms like you did in Iowa, New Hampshire, or to some extent South Carolina and Nevada. You really have to campaign by the media. To campaign with the media is very, very expensive, and it gives candidates with big war chests who've raised a lot of money and who are well known a tremendous advantage.
And what about Michigan and Florida for the Democrats? The fact that they buck the National Democratic Party, put their primaries ahead, and the Democratic Party says now they don't get delegates.
Well, incidentally, they've been penalized, these states, by the Republican Party as well, and their delegations have been cut in half by the Republican Party. My guess is that one of two things could happen. Either one, if Mrs. Clinton or Barack Obama gets a lead and goes into the convention with a plurality of the votes, in the interest of party unity, they'll vote to seat the entire delegation, which are the people who were chosen, because it won't matter. If it did matter, and we went into the convention without a candidate having a lead, there would be a fight over the credentials of those delegates, somewhat like the fight we had in 1952 between Eisenhower delegates and Taft delegates at the Republican convention. And the convention would have to decide then whether to overturn the Democratic Party's National Committee rule and seat the delegates or not seat them. Now, these states can still be seated at the convention if they conduct a caucus which accords with Democratic rules. So they could, in fact, in June, conduct a caucus, maybe even elect the same delegates, and they would be in accord with the party rules. But they're not going to, the Democrats say, we'll not seat delegates who are selected in a method or on a schedule that violates the party's rules.
Professor Wayne, if there is no clear Democratic winner today, what state becomes most important after this day of primaries and caucuses?
Well, that's very, very hard to say. Next week, you're going to have the District of Columbia, Virginia, and Maryland voting, and in subsequent weeks, big states such as Texas and Pennsylvania will be voting, and the most important states are the ones with the most delegates at stake, because up till this point, the name of the game was who got the most votes. At this point, the name of the game changes to who has the most delegates, and that should be what the media report on tonight. Don't worry about who wins and who loses. The candidates have enough of a national reputation. Look at the delegate count to see who's ahead and by how much.
And in Nevada, for example, the fact that, was it Obama who won more delegates, but they say Hillary Clinton actually won? Well, Hillary Clinton got more votes, but Obama got more delegates, and the Obama people are very angry that the press emphasized the popular vote victory when, in fact, they were competing for delegates. But, you know, the press emphasizes what the press wants to emphasize, and one of the areas that the press always emphasizes is the horse race, and believe it or not, we're going to have 2 Super Bowls the same week. And finally, the national popular vote movement, can you explain that? There are a lot of people who get upset that we don't elect our president by a direct popular vote, but by an indirect popular vote aggregated by states, in most cases on a winner-take-all system. So there have been proposals which were renewed again after George W. Bush's victory, even though he didn't have the most popular votes in 2000. Now, in order to change the Electoral College, you have to amend the Constitution. There are some states who feel that the winner-take-all system, or the fact that they have 3 electoral votes because they have 2 senators, even though they're a very small state, gives them an advantage. So there doesn't seem to be enough votes out there to get 2/3 of Congress and 3/4 of the states to amend the Constitution.
So what is going on now is a deal, an interstate compact, where state legislatures would pass a law that says when a majority of the states buy into this compact, we will force our electors to vote for the national popular choice winner as opposed to the state popular choice winner. Two state legislatures, California and Maryland, passed this law, but Governor Schwarzenegger vetoed it. So only one state thus far has agreed to the compact. And until a majority of the states of the electorate